4 number, which had been the high of the month, and it just got blown out of the water this morning on RB3. Dow futures 46.86 right now, but they made it up to 46.116. And like the 830 print in the Dow was 45.632. It was a big move to get up to and challenge 45.844. They got above it, blew it out of the water, like very aggressive Dow market. The S&P, I think, is following in pace. We have a 20 points higher than what the high had been yesterday. NASDAQ, I think, is struggling a little bit around the 24,000 area. We did make it up to 24,1850, but wow, big things happening. Some of this is Tesla's having a good day. Some of it is Apple recovering a little bit from yesterday. I'm just looking around at some of the big movers. Home Depot, well, $8 on a $400 stock. That's not that much, but they went up to 421.98 earlier today. Kroger, which reported earnings this morning, made it up to 69.89, but they're back down at 67.95. It's a good day to be in the Dow. That market is having a field day today, up 547 points from yesterday. Yeah. There's a couple of them. We're probably gonna run through a few of them, but I think why is the market this strong? I think the biggest issue, if we're sticking straight with the economic stuff, straight with the market stuff, which is what I think we should be doing here in this room, then I would have to point to the CPI report reflecting that the previous month's PPI report may have been an anomaly. I think that's the biggest issue. And again, we talked about it looked like an anomaly based on the PPI report we got yesterday. That last month was just an anomaly. And I think the CPI this morning kind of bears that out. And I think that's probably could be a sense where the market has permission to rally. That the checks against it might be fading. Now, how much of it will continue? Well, we're going to have to watch and evaluate, get that Genesis bar and figure out where we go from here and all the steps that you typically go through when you evaluate a market. But it was almost as if, especially in the case of the Dow, and really in the case of the broader market as a whole, it's almost as if the market got permission. Now, another thing that happened early this morning that we don't always focus on, but the ECB, the European Central Bank, decided to hold rates steady. And I wonder how much of an influence that might have had. Now, I think they've already cut rates a few times. So kind of look through here. Yeah, left its key deposit rate at 2%. So they're down at 2% and did not cut. So we'll see how that plays out. So one of those little types of reports that if you don't pay too much attention to global politics, and granted, I do most of my focus on U.S. markets, so little things like that can slip through the cracks. But the ECB this morning did decide to hold rates. I really think, though, when we look at this move, the bulk of the move occurred after the open of RB3. And it was reference bar 3 where the markets took off, and it was the Dow that really took off running. First, a big rally to get up to 45.844, and then a bonus rally on top of that, bringing the market up to 46,087 right now. So big action. Um, let's see, what else have we got? What else is in the news? Uh, well, global news is focusing mainly on ECB. Oracle, another day, another record. Yeah, so basically the big items this morning, inflation data, that's CPI, Kroger earnings, and then ECB rate decision, and maybe a few other things, but those are the main things: the CPI, Kroger earnings, and ECB. And I'm just looking through the headlines. Anybody else see anything out there on the economic and market side? And let's see. CPI, the standard number came in at 2.9%, which is a little bit elevated from the 2.7% previously. I think a lot of that, though, is we have, um, and I'm trying to think of how to say this properly. The the year over year numbers in crude, the gap is declining, and that's going to happen over the course of a year, right? So 2 months ago, the difference between crude a year ago and crude now uh, was startling, shocking. It was a big adjustment. Crude price of crude oil has gone down significantly over the course of the past year, but we're now starting to get into that area where that decline, we're starting to narrow that gap on the year over year. Now it's still a pretty big gap, but it's less than it was, and I think that's why that's the primary reason. There are a whole bunch of other reasons, but I think that's the primary reason that the CPI goes from 2.7 to 2.9. If you look at the core CPI report, it stayed steady at 3.1. So 3.1 on the core, that's for CPI. Um, no change on that front. And I think that, again, given that anomalous PPI report from a month ago, and then we get the number comes back down, and we'll see how that runs through. But CPI coming up and being steady certainly points to a month ago that PPI report was an anomaly, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that we got out of the CPI report. Um, Obviously, 3.1% inflation is not what anybody wants to see, but it's a steady number, and I think that a lot of times markets prefer a steady understanding rather than um, a moving target. Like if you know what the number is and you've got it there and it's consistent, then I think the markets actually feel better about that. It's funny in markets where the goal is to have the prices change every day. Traders are not big fans of change. And so consistency is generally regarded as a positive thing. Yeah. What would you prefer, consistency or chaos? Consistency every single day. Let's have consistency. But at the same time, as traders, we all know that chaos is what puts profits in our pockets. So a little bit of chaos mixed in there just to make it interesting, give us a reason to debate prices. Um, but there's something comforting about consistency, and when you have the economic uh, news being consistent, that kind of gives the market a little bit of a free pass. So I think that's probably in large part what you're seeing. Um, like economically speaking, I think that's the biggest event is that CPI number showed some consistency and showed that PPI number from a month ago to be anomalous. I think that was the biggest issue. All right, so we're going to get started with Train and Trade coming up in just a few minutes here at 11 a.m. Eastern. And trying to flip around and let's see, get those slides coming up. I know there's going to be a little bit of a discussion about the market. And you're going to hear from Tom Busby. He'll be coming on in about 3, 4 minutes, somewhere around that area. And let me just tell you, we do still have seats available in the upcoming in-person class. That will be about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks from now, I believe. And we're going to be talking a little bit about seasonality and major economic reports, and that's kind of appropriate for today. So I hope you guys are getting ready. Should be a fun little thing. I'm looking at some of the images that Jonathan put in the slideshow from this morning, and they they've moved. These markets have definitely moved this morning. There's no question about that. So we'll see how that works out. I would imagine Jonathan's still working on getting those slides as updated as possible. And we're going to have a fun show for you today. So let me go ahead and ask for those of you who are joining in, getting ready for these events, where are you logging in from? And see, usually we ask about the weather. I can tell you it's a little bit warmer today where I'm at. But we got San Jose in the house, Buffalo in the house. All right. We got East and West Coast. Buffalo's more Midwest, but New York's a West Coast state. So yeah, there we go. East Coast for Charlotte. All right. Salt Lake, Kansas City, getting into the middle of the country. All right. Well, it is great to have all of you guys joining us today. I'm really looking forward to today's presentation. I'm really excited by these markets, especially the Dow. Like, we often as traders, we focus on the markets that probably matter the most, and that's usually the S&P and the Nasdaq, based on the way things are going. The S&P for its consistency and its sort of broader market image, and the Nasdaq, of course, because techs, AI stocks in particular, have been just booming. But wow, that Dow today, Tom, did you see that Dow?
Yeah, we were talking about it in the SPX. I kept showing people the moneymaker, how the Dow was far exceeding everything else. And I was saying, this class is about the SPX, but if you're sitting there looking at the Dow, it was a heck of a option play early this morning. And we ended up, it was just one of those deals that I said to myself, this is, if I wasn't teaching, I'd be over here in the Dow taking a big bite of it because it was soaring when we recognized it. Okay. And anyway, just some interesting things happening that I believe that makes it important. But I know that hello, Carl Rod, Sam, Willis, David, Sharon. Hello, Sharon from New Hampshire. No state taxes there. And Keith from northern Minnesota, where it's cool. I bet it is cool. It's a little cool here in Florida. All right, so we had a great session this morning on SPX. I think people that ponied up and joined me have got a lot of their value back based on the results everybody's showing me. We're expanding, we're doing other things there. It's pretty exciting what we're doing. But there's risk involved in trading. You know, nobody's perfect. Past performance not indicative, in my opinion. Like I told you yesterday, told you the day before, told you the day before, market goes up 7 out of 10 days. This is one of those days that's going up, and you can't sit there and use a stale strategy of selling a call. You'll get your face peeled on a market like today because it's surging to new highs, and it's really, it's really interesting. Just why make it hard on yourself? All you have to do is be part of our team, and our team consists of what we do. And look, there's enough money here for everybody if you want to be part of it, in my opinion. My retirement center, we have a flash meeting tomorrow at 2. Got some stuff to talk about in it. This is something I'm doing totally free. You can mirror what I'm going to do in my account. We've gone through a couple demonstrations. We'll get serious after October, but I'm teaching people how I do it. And by the end of the year, I think you'll see the results of it. Just the different things that I do when I'm evaluating and doing things in an account. I don't check a lot. I pop in and pop out. Speaking of that, I went through the weekly payers. The weekly payers, I gave you a list of those. Jonathan did anyway. Every weekly payer I checked was bullish for this month. So it's not a bad time to pick up some dividend money if you got money laying in cash, in my estimation. Okay, does everybody know about the weekly payers? Jonathan, you might have a slide with the names of them that you can throw in here and let them see it if they want to. I know you did the work on it, and just the names themselves, okay, would help people. I like the weekly payers. Get paid tomorrow on some, get paid on Tuesday on some. Now, if you want a DTI referral to go to Tasty Trade, send an email to Roe@DTI Trader. What do you benefit from that? Well, it's clear that, I'm friends with Tom, and the compliance officer is his daughter, and I think she sees DTI, and pretty well, unless you just fill out the application wrong, you get approved for anything you want to trade. That's what I like about them. DJ, I think Jonathan added in here as a slide. He's probably searching for it right now. But the weekly pairs, I went through it, and they all look good. Yeah, email Roe@DTI Trader. That's our class coming up. If anybody lives in Florida and doesn't take this opportunity to come here, I'm putting you on my bad list. You need to come and get some face-to-face training. What a key time of year to come. It's worth your time and your money. Put your email, phone number in here. We'll contact you, get it worked out for you, and get you down here. Florida's an easy drive. Get a free year of my Futures First, which, by the way, paid if you did any aggressive of what I told you this week. We got a new thing in Futures First. We call it the power trade each week. 3 big trades that set up. And, this thing is producing a lot of money for people that's in the Futures First if they take those 3 power trades each week. The last lesson covered that. We covered bonds on utilities. Guys, I can do everything but grab your mouse and say, this is what you got to do. I told you on Monday night that bonds were going to go higher, and bonds have gone a lot higher. Okay. Our weekly trade letter comes out, and it's pretty good because I think you can find out what we're doing on Wednesday. Chuck does a review inside the room and inside TNT if you want to see it. Talk about the weekly trade letter. We talked about Genesis yesterday, and boy, did people respond to that technology. If you want to listen to that recording, I'll have Adam or somebody put the link in there. You ought to go listen to it. It really is a necessary thing that the computers and technology does to work for you. I know we're throwing a lot at you, but we move pretty quick here at DTI. You're waiting on us, you're probably backing up. You ever heard that? If you're in the South, I know you have. Jonathan, take it away with our foundation. I'm curious. And Jonathan, would you mind? There's a couple things I want to do. We got a list of the primary, and we got a list of our weekly payers on here. We probably ought to put a list of some small price stocks. Romy, I'm south of Jacksonville on A1A. South of Jacksonville on A1A. Are you from Florida, Romy? Take it away, Jonathan.
Just getting these updated. It's September the 11th at 11:07. Since there's a kind of a pickup in interest on the dividend payers, I'll scroll down to the bottom first and show you, highlight those. There's the list right there. While you're looking through that, I'll post a slide link again.
Most of them have long. Most of them have long if you want a dividend payer. Some pay on Tuesday, some pay on Friday. 2 paychecks a week.
This spreadsheet is on slide number 9 from the slide deck today. If you save that spreadsheet every time I update it, you'll see it updated. What it is we're comparing the current price of all these tickers to their month open and their first 3 days high and low. You see a lot of longs on the board here because, first of all, the S&P and NASDAQ are both above their first 3-day high. And what that is the first 3 trade days of the month. You get a highest high from those 3 trade days, and then when the market breaks out of that range, it's starting to trend. That's what we're seeing here. And when the S&P and NASDAQ are both long, the majority of the stocks should be long in a healthy market. And that's why we see a bunch of longs here. Now, crude oil, we said if it got back below 62.72, maybe setting up for another leg lower. Today it is below 3-day low. We'll see if we can get some follow through there. AMD still short. Been that way for a couple months. And we saw that in Berkshire for a few months. Last month it perked back up. Now it's back down again. So AMD and Berkshire not as healthy as we would like to see them. That's why you don't see Tom trading those 2 stocks this month. All right, but a bunch of green.
Yeah, Sharon, in answer to your question, the dividend stocks that I have picked out on this list, some of them pay on Friday, meaning they pay every week on Friday. Some of them pay every Tuesday. The ones that pay on Tuesday, you got to get in on Friday, and the ones that pay on, Tuesday, you got to get in by close of business Friday to get paid the dividend. And you can find there's 2 websites you can go learn about it. This was given to me by one of our esteemed students out of California named Carol, and I guess she's moved a lot of people to dividend stocks based on what she's doing. But I like the weekly payers, okay? And so the weekly payers will really put you in a good position of getting paid. For example, I'm long NVDW, which is I'm long the stock and that, and it's at 48. It's a buy. I'm long YETH, which is a weekly payer. It's a buy. Let's just give you an example. I'm long a bunch of these things, but Claire, because you're so sweet, we're going to put Oklo back on here. Absolutely, we'll put it back on here. Oklo. I like Oklo. I like the symbol. OKLO. But everybody understands the weekly payers and the dividends. This is something one of our students brought to us. I evaluated. I didn't believe her. Went through auditor account. I said, this is good enough. I'm going to share it with everybody. That's the advantage. I get to talk to people, and I talk to a lot of students, especially those that take the time and come spend a little time with me here in Ponte Vedra Beach. Did that help you, Sharon? And he'll type the websites in there for you, and that way you can go read all about it. Round Hill Investments is one, Yield Max is the other. Well, actually, what I'm doing, I'm staying in the weekly pairs as long as they're in a buy signal. This is what this list tells me. So I don't get out of it. I just stay in the suckers as long as they're in a buy signal. If you want to be real aggressive, you could do that. All right, Jonathan, good job on our, don't go home without our numbers list. This will keep you on the right side of history. Wouldn't you like to have something that you could look at to refer back to? If you had a little spare money, go find it on this list. If it says long, odds are it's going to go up this month. There's a website for Yield Max. That's the September list that we're trading. Now, welcome to Train and Trade. First of all, thanks for coming. We're trying to grow this group, and if we can, you know, I think it's going to be pretty exciting to be able to do that. Now, here's a program we'll talk a little bit about more today. It's called T-Buzz Talk and Trade. How many people would like a 24-hour research service and trade service combined in one? Where you got the top picks, you got the background while you're doing it, and you got different things that help you stay on the right side of history. How many people would like a room that you could go to like that around the clock? Tell me yes if you would. Yeah, Diane, I had GLW. I need to probably put it back on the list too. Bill says he'd like that. Jim R says, heck yeah. Ray, okay, well, I got something. Neil's seen it. Believe me, you ought to see what money he's making just listening in there. Okay, he's a big user of TNT. 5 trades a day, 5 days a week, over $100 trade opportunities per month. No brainer. Wow. Claire's a newer student, got in fast and has become a loyal follower of our TNT. DTItrader.com/TNT. Today's focus, understand the seasonality and the ability to use major economic reports to predict direction. Did you know we got a live session tonight or this day at 2 talking about that? How many people knew that? We're going to do that at 2. We're going to take what we teach you here, show you how to use it in a real market at 2 today. Jonathan told me we're doing that. I thought, that's okay.
Yeah, Tom, I think it's at 3 unless Adam moved it up an hour. I'll check with Adam.
Is it 3? Y'all figure it out. I'll be there. I'm available. Just let me know. Chuck, what do you got for us today?
Well, a couple things, Tom. We wanted to take a look at some of these seasonality issues and major economic reports. We just had 2 in the past 2 days, PPI and CPI. So let's take a look, first of all, at the seasonality aspect of the market. Right? We know that seasonally speaking, the best 3 months of the year, typically April, July, and November. For the NASDAQ tends to move a little bit earlier, so we substitute March for April, right? So that's leading up into that first quarter earnings, because we all know, Tom, that some of the best time for tech is that Christmas holiday shopping season, which extends from the fourth quarter to the first quarter. So you get a little bit early action there in the NASDAQ. Now, the worst months are typically June and September, and someone forgot to tell September this year that it's supposed to be a bad month.
But Chuck, I want to add that I did tell people this is going to be a September to remember, because it's going to be different from what everybody thinks. I saw a lot of people say, oh, it's going to be down, down, down. I said, no, 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 no. All you got to remember is one number for the month, 64.78, be long above it. Look at it now, Chuck. Look at it now.
A lot of that a lot of that seasonality aspect, it has to do with what's built up before and what's built up after, right? So if you're coming into September and you've already had a bit of a pullback, a bit of the market slowing down, we saw the back half of August, it wasn't really great for the market. Okay, well, now where's that negative aspect coming from? So I always like to put it this way: if you're looking for a market to fall, it has to climb first, right? So you got to get to the top before you can jump off and have a down move. And market was actually up near the highs, but there's this economic pessimism that existed throughout August. And I just don't think it got worse in September. So I think you're pointing out, hey, look at the numbers. They're going to tell you what's going to happen. Absolutely true. But remember that when we're looking at these, September is one of the worst months. Yeah, but April's one of the better months. How did April do this year? Yeah, not so great. So when you're breaking that seasonality, it is important to be able to recognize it and understand what comes next. Not to mention, just because something happens 60% of the time, well, the other 40% it does something else. So be careful with those seasonality numbers, but they are good to know. Now, October tends to be a buffer between September and November, right? So if we have October kind of do something different, well, that's going to make life interesting. Um, and just going back, November, one of the better months, September, one of the worst months. I'm really interested to see what this the first month of the fourth quarter is going to look like, because that's going to tell me about the rest of the fourth quarter. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay, now moving forward, let's put seasonality on the side for a minute, and let's take a look at the 5 major economic reports. Each month, the market moves through these reports in this order. Typically, we have non-farm payroll, the employment situation report. We have CPI and PPI, consumer price index and producer price index. These are typically inflationary gauges. We have GDP, which is gross domestic product, and PCE, which is personal consumption expenditure. Now, if you look at the way these are grouped, GDP and PCE come out back to back. GDP is a Thursday report, PCE a Friday report typically. In that same week is at the end of the month. You get NFP, the employment situation report, comes out at the beginning of the month, and then CPI and PPI grouped together in the middle of the month. So we got the end and the beginning of the month, and then the middle of the month. And occasionally you get kind of a quiet week. We'll have sort of a quiet week next week, I think, as the market's dealing with rollover. You know, we're coming into that third Friday of the third month of the quarter, so that's going to be interesting. So these reports mean a lot. We also have the FOMC coming up, but that's not a monthly report. We get the FOMC coming out 8 times a year, but we've got one coming out soon. Let's go ahead and move over to the next slide here and start with the inflationary reports. They're the ones that we just heard from. CPI and PPI released mid-month. And they give 2 primary readings. The second reading is the core reading, which excludes volatile food and energy costs. Now, I've always been a fan of following the core. A lot of people, when they want to, if you try and get into an economic debate, when you're talking to people about CPI and PPI, here's how you know if you're talking to someone that is actually paying attention. If they're not talking about the core, they might not follow this information quite as closely as major economists should. So the core rate, taking out that volatile food and energy, that's really what tells us that metric, that up and down metric that we're supposed to pay attention to. Because look, we've all seen crude costs go up, crude costs go down. We know how it can affect inflationary numbers, but we also know that it's transitory. The core rate, typically not so much transitory. That's something that you got to deal with. So bear that in mind. Now, the PCE is released at the end of the month. It's also an inflationary report. And this is the preferred measure of the Federal Reserve. That also has a core PCE index and a normal PCE index. And again, the core is the number that we want to focus on. That's going to tell us about the long lasting effects of inflation or the short lasting effects of inflation, however you put it. But that standard number can be transitory because of the volatile food and energy sectors. So let's go ahead and look at our next slide here, move away from the inflationary reports, and we get the underlying economic reports. It starts with, at the start of the month, the employment situation reports are released at the start of each month. Non-farm payroll, unemployment rate, and participation rate are the major ones you want to watch. NFP tracks the change in employees for businesses and governments at over 650,000 work sites. So it is a straw poll, if you will, but tends to be a very accurate one. The unemployment rate is that statistical measure that tells us, well, basically tells us the unemployment rate. Let's be real. Now, the participation rate is something that most people don't pay that much attention to, but you probably should, because if the participation rate is moving higher, more people are trying to participate in the economy, and that might actually bump up the unemployment rate. If the participation rate is dropping and you see the unemployment rate drop, then the unemployment rate dropping, that might not be the win you think it is. So you have to kind of put both of those together. The more people you're polling, the more people you're polling. That's what it comes down to. So participation rate, I think, an under talked about number. I think we certainly need to focus on that every time the NFP comes out. The other big economic report is GDP, released at the end of each month. Now, GDP is an interesting report. It's different from all the others. GDP is actually a quarterly report, but it's released 3 times each quarter. You have the preliminary report, the revised report, and the final report. Now, the biggest one is typically the preliminary report because that's about the quarter that just finished, and it's new information. The information that we'll be getting at the end of this month in GDP will be the final report for the second quarter. So we've gone through July, August, and now September, and we're talking about something that occurred 3 months ago that we've already seen 2 renditions of in that report. If there's a big difference between the revision and the final, that's certainly something to look at and be aware of. But I got to be honest with you, the GDP report I'm most interested in will be the one coming out in October because that will be our first look at the third quarter. All right. So did I have any more slides on here, Jonathan, or is that it? Major economic reports, learn the pivot method. Tom, I think we're back to you on the pivot method.
Yeah. Okay. So what I do is I will write down the pivot numbers from each of the big reports. And then I will put together an average of these reports. For example, 6537 is the average of, these are the 5 major reports that come out. The only alteration is this if you have a Fed meeting. We do this week, but I will take the time at 2 o'clock on the press conference and write that down. But I compile the pivot numbers for these reports. So if you look at 65-40-14, 65-41, 65-55, average is 65-37, and you're trading at 65-91, without reading any report, it tells me the market is taking the general big news of the month and rating it positive. Does everybody understand the value of what I do by doing that? I save a lot of time by taking those numbers. And I record them right prior to each report. And so it would tell me that the average low or the average would be 65-37. And we got, let's see, John, we got 2 more reports, GDP and PCE. And you can take those reports and see where we're trading at the time. It might make a decision to do a low price option to take advantage of that trend or do all different type trades based off this number. And keeping up with it every month is something that I think will pay you And actually, you don't have to listen to the news. Just look at the numbers. They'll tell you the true story. I mean, think about this. If you go back and did a research that said, what were some of the better names in the industry? I'm talking about Reuters, all these people saying 30 days ago. Everybody had a theme. You know what their theme was? Inflation was going to kill the market. Remember that going into September? I even saw a couple people talking about it. They're evidently they're good readers because that's not what's going to happen. And I'm going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what I've done here in this month of September and will continue to do. Got to think a little bit different. And that's what, it's okay to be different, especially as a trader. And so when I hear things like, well, it's supposed to be real weak and the numbers is 64.78, my pivot number for the month, and I'm trading 65.10, it's hard for me to be bearish. Anyway, does everybody understand the logic behind what I do? And then you say, well, how does that logic pay you? Well, all you got to do is look at our track record, son. It's right there for you to see. Now, I want to talk, I'm really spending some time, I think I broke through yesterday, talking about the moneymaker. I did not realize it used to be a primary thing that we kept in front of you back in the days when we used to have a full day of trade room activity. We don't do that anymore. So I said, where would be the most logical place for me to help people do this around the clock? Well, I have a 24-hour room. It's called T-Buzz TNT. Write this down. I want everybody here to type this in there. DTI Trader, type it in there. DTI Trader.com/TNT. Type that in there. Everybody type. I want to make sure you heard me because I want you to hear me because I'm about to tell you something's going to blow your mind about how you can have your own research room working for you. Okay, there's Jonathan. Type it in there. Copy what Jonathan said and type it just to go through the motions where it sticks in your head. Okay, because inside this room, there's a lot of answers to a lot of questions. So the moneymaker gives me trend, resistance, and support. And I'll tell you how you can benefit in a second. Okay. So the moneymaker this morning, in the overnight session, I said the target would be 65.62. The sell would be 65.30 if we went down there. But the things I noticed were the following. Does everybody see that diamond there? The diamond was trading 458.5 in the early session after the news, and it was far leading all the other indexes and was telling people you ought to be long that, okay? Now, Jonathan, you ought to add NVIDIA in here too on the live version we go to eventually, okay? Because NVIDIA, I posted into the TNT room, and Jonathan, go find what I posted. I said, NVIDIA is a buy.
Let me see.
Posted it in here. And I gave a pivot number too, I think. It was my number one pick for today. NVIDIA was. This is in the early session. Probably about 5:30 to 6:30 it was posted. Now, if you're in Genesis today, I gave people a sample of what's going on in the other room that time of the morning. Did anybody in Genesis see it? Saw what I was posting? I was just giving you an example. Read that to everybody, Jonathan. What does it say?
NVIDIA was your first of the Magic 5. You said
Which tells you I'm probably more than likely 95% going to buy the stock in the early session. I bought it, and the stock went to I think the high was 180 or something where I sold it. Check it real quick. Yeah, 180. 100 shares paid you $150. That ain't bad. Then you take the cash by the time the regular market opens, go do something else. But that was NVIDIA this morning. Okay. Yeah, that's what I did, Jackie. That's exactly what I did. because at the time, 180 was resistance. Now, TQQ was another one I played. Okay. I played that TQQ a lot. Laura loves the money maker. You see, it's appropriate named, okay? And so here's what I'm going to do in the future. In the evening, I will give you my forecasted high and low for the day with the tickers in the evening. I will also do it between 5 and 6 in the morning. After RB3, I'll have Chuck do it, posted in there with the, with the adjustments. Between 12 and 3, Jonathan and Chuck will post it and keep it active all day with the current resistance and support for all the numbers. That's a huge, huge benefit for you. You're getting the best numbers that the team can provide to you for trading. That's going to be in TNT. Okay? 4 stages to look for when using Roadmap Moneymaker. Okay? I look for divergence. What do I mean by divergence? Y'all remember when Apple fell out of bed, dropped from 132 down to 227? How would you like to recognize that if you were long Apple at 232? It was easy to see that as the market was making highs, Apple was making lows. That's a pure case of divergence, which told me it's going to get a lot weaker. Okay? You look for divergence, stage 1, and you make money off divergence. Here's 2 examples. What happened yesterday? E-mini was long, telling you it was going up, and yesterday Apple was a short going down. And vice versa, E-mini can be short and the stock can go up, giving you divergence. Like if E-mini was falling and the stock was climbing, then you could go buy that stock. Name a stock that's been in the news lately. I'll give it to you. Oracle. Market was falling, Oracle was going higher. This is the beautiful thing about the money maker. I look for outperformance. This happened this morning on the diamond. Occurs when the stock's beyond the money maker predicted price level when ES gets to target. When ES got to my first target this morning, diamond was soaring. It exceeded expectations this morning. It's been outperforming. Pretty good stuff, huh? Now, this is what I really like about the money maker. I told people in TNT, or not TNT, I told people in the SPX this morning that I use this to sell premium at the day. How many people think they could make money if they had a good understanding of where to sell puts when the market was going up and selling calls when the market was going up on that day? How many people think they might make some money doing that? Have you heard me say I use the S&P for everything? That's why you ought to be in my futures and learn more. But anyway, so sell days of trending day. I was going to give you a TQQ put trade that expires tomorrow. On that trade, if you got in where I did this morning, let me check see how much I'm up on that trade right now. That was this morning, TQQ. Yeah, 350 bucks. Nothing to sneeze about. Jim, you're going to have to watch the tape. I don't have enough time to go through the Delta 50. I'll do it this afternoon if you come at 3 o'clock. Jonathan, we're doing 3.
That's right, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Come to 3 and I'll cover Delta 50 again. When everything's in sync, consider it a premium. For a bullish market, want to sell premium below the lower support level. And it's dropping, you want to sell premium above. play the middle. This is my favorite trade with the SPX and the XSP. When the expectation for the market to go sideways, I use an iron condor strategy. I like getting paid on both ends. Has anybody ever traded iron condor with me? I would put my iron condor techniques up against anybody in the business. When I do an iron condor, I go in there thinking, wow, I love it. Especially with the SPX and XSP. Thank you, Fred. I love kicking field goals. In T-Bus Talk and Trade, I plan to start posting Roadmap Moneymaker during the day with the ES numbers I'm using. Boy, this is getting, this is so good. Jonathan, did we raise the price to TNT because I'm doing this, or are we keeping it the same? I'm just curious.
The price is the same.
There you go, folks. Jump in before I raise the price. All right, so here's what's going to happen. Tonight, which is Thursday night, I will post the projected range, high and low. Based on my experience, you'll get that tonight. In the morning, between 5 and 6, I will post what it looks like going into the morning cash. After RB3, I will have my team, Jonathan and Chuck, post the numbers, 10, 12, and 2, and they can combine 12 and 2 together. I'm really talking about between 12 and 3, but whatever they feel like doing, I'm fine with them doing it, okay? You'll have that in TNT, okay? And you'll have those numbers, those resistance and support numbers for all the tickers that we have on the Moneymaker. Now, if you got the roadmap, you can add your own ticker. How many people would like to join TNT now that I've added this additional feature? Not only do you get the trades we do in here, there, now you're going to get the Moneymaker to help you do so many more trades that you want to do. Well, here's your chance if you want to join. It's the only service I talk directly to you on, start as early as 5 in the morning, going as late as 10 at night. Mark says, I'm glad I'm already there. In other words, when opportunity arises, TNT's there. A good time that a lot of people don't think about, there's a lot of earnings announcements. I'll do trades in the evening because you can trade in the evening, okay, when opportunity arises. Actual opportunities and trade details all day long. A typical day in the TNT program. Let's review it. First, the first thing I post early in the morning is the overview of stocks and tickers I'm looking at, okay? I see stocks that are moving early and markets that are moving down. I see that early in the morning, okay, and opportunities being created. Look where the S&P was, 65.47. You think you might make some money if you knew that 65.45 was the pivot? Well, I gave it to everybody this morning. Neil just said, it's downright scary just how accurate the Moneymaker is. Never seen a tool like it. No one else has got it. No one ever will. This one's protected, but folks, snapshot of the market between today. Now here's what I do. This is a typical order I do it. I post my Magic 5. Today, NVIDIA, 78.55. I said get long, #1 pick. TQQ, above 95.55 for the TQQ. In fact, it's 95.69 right now. QQQ, I said if it goes above 582.55, you ought to buy it. Let me check the QQQ, 584. There's another $200 on 100 shares. Or 2 Delta 50s would have probably paid you 100%. I told you gold or KGC, 22.75. Listen to this. Jonathan, do the calculation on this one. I told people to buy it again this morning. It's at 23.13. If you had bought it off what I gave people, how much money would it have been up on a $5,000 stock bet? Figure that out for you. It's 23.13.
23.
Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of money.
Well, that's 38 cents, and you said 5,000.
Yeah.
5,000 would have got you 200 and call it 20 shares. So whatever that is on the 38-cent move.
Not bad. ETH. Now I put ETH in here at 41.11. That's a put sell. I've been telling people they can sell puts below the number I post. And that stock right now, let me just go check it out. ETH. Yeah, it's 41.53. So you can sell a 39 put out a couple weeks, make some money there. A lot of money I'm handing people every morning if they want to take it. It's up to you. Do you take it? I train you on taking it. I give my daily pivot on the E-mini, which is this alone. If I was out there, if somebody had as good a numbers as I use, and I don't mean to be cocky about it, just confident. If you use my numbers, you're going to make money and know how to use them. Let's just put it that way. Would you say that's a true statement? Let me ask the crowd here that's been using it. If you take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? That's really the question we're asking. You take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? I got yes, yes, absolutely, yes, yes, yes. Keeps green. Claire loves it. Well, so Claire had. Roy says since 1996. Hey, Roy, good to see you. Since 1996. Jim says absolutely. Take my pivot number to the bank. I give it every morning. 65.45. This was my initial money maker that I'm adding between 5 and 6. Notice I got 62 right there. What I'm talking about, the diamond was at 458 and we were trading 65.55, which told me the diamond's exploding. Okay. Pretty good stuff. I also post trending news overnight. I like doing that. And I go through there and see if anything gets my attention. And, I post this every morning. Just get you current with what everybody else is talking about. Okay. Yes, Sharon, here, just say, I'll tell you how to get there. I give you trending news. Right. Okay. Breaking insights. Notice the mind maker say gold correct. In other words, stay out of gold. Stay out of gold. I was telling people. I said the TQQ strong when I post that. I told people we got news at 8:30, big news. Just a trade we did a few weeks ago at $90 on TQQ. The TQQ bonus trades alone can pay for your subscription. And it's pretty simple. You just wait for get one of these TQQ trades and do it. Do cash, you don't have to. That's just the start of the day. Chuck also provides reference bar analysis all day long with every new reference bar. These numbers right here keep you current with the current time frame when you tune in. Notice he's got RB2, which is your Genesis time right there. He's got RB3. I said RB2, that's Europe's time. RB3 is RB3 cash opening times. He posts this for every major reference bar in here. So you can go back and say, hey, where was the pivot number for that time frame? You got it right there. This is your own research lab. I go there and get it. That's why I had him do it. I print these suckers off. Reference bar tape reading all day long. Now, remember, the Moneymaker will continue to post throughout the day. I'll post it tonight and every night, every morning. The DTI team will post it after 10. Genesis, they'll post it somewhere between 12 and 3, Jonathan. If You know, if you got to change, you can post it. I don't, but if you want to keep up with it, you know, the key is I'm looking to sell something that last hour. That's what I'm looking for. We've got a report, you know, comes out in the morning, tells you all the hot news. Sharon is reference bar. Jonathan, put reference bar white papers in there for Sharon. She's a new one.
Okay.
Anyway, this report here is right before the market where you got everything you need to know about today. Numbers ladder to the right. There's the white papers. Very easy to read if we post trades in there. That's a trade on Uber that we did in there, August 22nd. Clearly, we did great on it. Look at that, 86.85. It's about 95 now, isn't it? What a trade. We recognize stuff before most people don't even know about it. Yeah, keep the questions coming. If you're already using Telegram, easy to join. If somebody wants it, they just download Telegram, right? And then they put the link we given for Talk and Trade, right? That's how they do it. Two couple steps, you're in there. All right. We trade stock. We trade long calls, long puts, debit option spreads, credit option spreads, condors. We do condors in here some days. When I see an opportunity, I don't have to wake Jonathan up. You know, he does sleep more than I do. I give you my favorite way to play it when I see it. And I'll post it if I'm watching the market at the time. Usually between 8 and 10 at night when I take a look. Let's summarize everything Talk and Trade members get. You get the morning market direction. I mean, that's worth a fortune. Our pre-market watch list, I ought to change that to Magic 5 instead of the pre-market watch list. Anybody can get a pre-market watch list, but having Magic makes a difference. Put Magic 5 pre-market watch list. From time to time, you'll be invited to special webinars that I do. I update this sucker, reference bar trading, roadmap trading, income and other bonus trades, plus TQQ trading. It's got it there. It's got everything, doesn't it? Now, if you want to join, it's real simple. It's dtitrader.com/TNT. Everybody remember that website? Costs you $200 a month. Quit anytime. There's no contract or anything. You can only stay for a month. It's not worth it. I'll see you around. But I have never had anybody tell me it wasn't worth it when I meet them face to face at the different places we do, small classes or our Sawgrass. If you've got any questions about this, call 904-706-3532. Everybody here can afford to have good information. Here's a way to get it from me. Nothing waters it down. It's strictly from me to you to your bank account. Any questions about it? Mina says, I'm new. I purchased the membership. You're going to give me signals when I buy and sell what I see. Yes, there's a ticket that we post in there, Nina. We covered it for stock and options. We do it in there all the time. So if you're going to join, get joined, okay? And if you join at $200 a month, okay, then I will post a trade this afternoon on the TQQ that maybe you could make some money, okay? How you like that for a bonus kickoff? I'll do it after 12. If you're in Genesis, if you want to add to your Genesis subscription, join this and it really multiplies the information you get if you like trading. You don't have to take all the trades, but if you get there early, you're gonna have a good game plan for any day you are trading, right, Roger? Roger's a doctor that stays pretty busy. You know how he stays in touch with what we're doing? TNT. John says the best $200 you'll ever spend. Thank you, John, for saying that. In fact, even with a small account, David says it pays for itself. I think it does. You learn a lot of things about the market every day, like an open book on me sharing with you things that I see that mean something, things you need to know. Any other questions about my TNT? Yeah, Kevin says this is going to set you up for the next day, the night before. Yeah, let me give you an example. Let's just bring up a live. Let's go to a live moneymaker and let's do one, and I'll tell everybody what it's saying here at 11:52 or 12 o'clock. Jonathan, go to a live moneymaker. Just put that in there and put a chart beside it. That's all I need. Okay. Let me see what you got. You got a diamond, SPX, SSP, QQQ, SPY, TQQ, Apple, gold. Add NVIDIA there. Add NVIDIA and the diamond. You got the diamond, right? Yeah, okay, you got the diamond. Add NVIDIA to your deal. And then let's go through it and evaluate it. Okay. Change your buy to a new buy, which is 6605. That'll be what I'll be using in the afternoon, 6605, unless we get there before 12. Roy, you can do options for any of my programs. It's up to you which one. If you like, are you looking to actively trade? Or you want to actively trade, Roy? Tell me what you're focusing. Okay, you sold your construction business. Okay, here's what you need to do. Put the link for Genesis and the link for TNT. That'll keep you busy, those two right there. Let's see, Roy came to me in 1996, and that first year I was teaching, we've come a long way, Roy. Probably need the roadmap and MTI by DTI. John, put those four in there for Roy. You get those four working for you. You remember Kelly Barber, Roy? Why don't I put your, let's do this. Yeah, Jeffrey Ondraka, let's do this. Let's put, Roy, give your phone number. I'm gonna have Jeffrey call. You're probably better off getting in gold, GOLD. That way you can do all the programs in gold. Why don't you do that, Roy? Okay, save yourself some money. But stay with. Call him and tell him that I said give you the discount for long-term students. Okay, big discount for long-term students. You definitely qualify 25 years, 30 years. Okay, but do that and get the roadmap, MTI. Start out with the power program. Start out with Genesis and TNT. Jim made $525 on the SPX trade this morning. See, if you buy the gold, you can be in there in the SPX, Roy. So you want an actively trade, that's the best thing to do. Way to go, Carl Rod. Carl Rod. Carl, why don't you, are you working with Kelly? I think you ought to consider gold. We got a special running on gold right now, Carl Rod. Put your name and phone number in there, and I'll have Kelly contact you. Yeah, the best way to save money with me is get into gold. Jim made 1,250 off my SPX. Yeah, I was going to give you a call, Dave, after I finish this. All right, let's go back to the moneymaker. I've got a target of 6605, means the QQQ should get to 586 if the S&P gets to 6605. If you look at the S&P, it's currently 6588, okay? Mina, you want to put your phone number, you're new, let me call you and talk to you. I'll call you and talk to you. Put your phone number, I'll call you. Tell me what you're really trying to do. I'll customize something for you. Mina, I'm gonna put you down right here and give you a call. Okay, I got Mina. Get a call this afternoon. It'll come from area code 251. Okay, so if we look at this and we say to ourselves, how can we make money? Well, if Genesis is positive, which is forming right now, right, Jonathan? And stays positive, then you can probably buy a diamond call, Delta 50, or a QQQ call, and you could go out 10 days and do either one of those if this thing stays positive. If you want to, I think that'd be a pretty good trade. And what's Jonathan, tell me the low of if you will, tell me the low of the mini, this bar.
The Genesis bar forming, the low is 6583.
6583. All right, so put 6583 into the moneymaker. This is real time, so we'll just do it real time. 6583. So that if you bought the diamond and it got below 6110, I'd get out of the diamond option. If you bought the QQQ, got below 583.88, I'd say goodbye. Don't have to risk much on that QQQ. If it's long, what's going to make it long? Look at your compass zone, put the diamond in there, if you will, and put the QQQ in there. I'd trigger myself long. What's that high? 584.88.
Right.
I'd trigger myself long at 585.11 on the QQQ. What's the long for the diamond? What is it?
461.93. 461.93.
462.11. I'd trigger long. So if I got long, then I've got where I'm wrong on the QQQ and on the diamond if it drops below those numbers. You'll see I did. Y'all see how I used a money maker to set up a trade? Does everybody understand what I just did? I did that on the fly because that's what I do when I got the money maker up. Neil, 65.83 is the lowest E-mini's been. Therefore, I don't have much to risk if it takes out that trigger. I don't have a trade unless it takes out that current high. Everybody understand that, right? And I took, Jonathan gave me the highs and I added my little T-Buzz English to it, 62.11 and 85.11. Said, okay, so I'll set an alert. Jonathan will set me an alert and then he'll call me and I'll decide, look at it one last time and let it fly. I know where I'm wrong, right? I know where it's going to because I got the moneymaker dialed in at 6605. So I use this as a trigger, those high numbers. So Jonathan, you might draw that out for him, what I just described on the diamond and on the QQQ. Don't do anything unless it takes out that high that I said, or that, and if you do get into a trade, you go out 10 days, you buy a Delta 50 option. That simple. Is that simple, what I just did? Did I lose people in what I just did? Learn how to do this. How are you going to learn? Get to one of my small classes. If you didn't pick up what I just told you, it's costing you money not coming to my small classes. Wendy, you're going to have to be there today at 2 to learn about Delta 50, okay? We got a tape on it, but I'm going to do another version of it today at 2. Or 3, excuse me, 3 o'clock today. So be sure you show up. Or go to YouTube. John, if they go to YouTube, do we have that classified as a Delta 50 training? They can go watch it on YouTube.
I think it's probably not classified as Delta 50. It was one of the training trades over the past week or so, I
I
believe.
think what we ought to start doing, Jonathan, when you post these into YouTube, we ought to take the central theme of what we're trying to get across in the training and post it in YouTube that way. That way people can go search and find it maybe, huh? Just a thought. I don't know if it works that way. That's what I would think it would work.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy solution and a great one. We'll start doing that.
Okay, good. That way if we say, hey, go watch the Delta 50, now people can go to the Delta 50, search for the Delta 50. Y'all like that idea? Even though T-Buzz comes up with a good idea every now and then. Now, John, you want me to teach a whole course on key numbers today? Ask me a crazy question like that. He asked me how I got 6605. I know my numbers. Jonathan, put down as a note that I'll cover all the standard numbers this afternoon at 3 o'clock, standard key numbers. John, I'll do that for you. Be there at 3 o'clock Eastern. All right, let's go back to TNT before I raise the price. I'm starting to raise the price in my mind. Go back to TNT. All right, dtitrader.com/TNT. Get your spot in there right now, 904-706-3532. Let's make it a no-brainer because I'm really trying to get a bunch of people. Here's what I'm going to do. If you join today, Jonathan, make note of this. I haven't done this in TNT since inception, but I'm going to do it. If you join today, you got 30 days to try it out. If it doesn't work for you, let me know and I'll refund the $200. I've never done that in TNT, have I, guys? Let's do something special for her. I'm feeling good. Why am I feeling so good? Now, if you're in Genesis, get the TNT. Here's your chance. Bought yesterday, it doesn't apply. This is a, what do they call that? What is that store they have? It's called a red light special or something going on. This is a red light special. Get TNT. All right, so any questions before I wrap it up? Chuck, you got anything you want to add? Chuck keeps saying that, Chuck, he said, you keep giving me stuff to do.
Well, yeah, there's that part. We'll get that straightened out, though. No, I think basically you kind of summed it all up. Blue light special. There are better things than a blue light special. Come on now. Get with the times, old man. This is more like Amazon. What is Amazon's, not Black Monday, but what the Prime Days, right? There you go. This is more like Prime Days than a blue light special. We got a wider selection than Kmart ever thought of having.
Okay, I'm gonna give everybody about 15 minutes, Chuck, to get in my Telegram channel. And in 15 minutes, I'm gonna talk about a trade, okay, set up that is not a day trade, but it's one that might put a smile on their face, okay? So I'm going to talk about that. Why don't we give in 30 minutes? At 12:30, I'll go in there and do it. Debbie, we got some classes. Jonathan, how would Debbie she bought Genesis Algo. Is there a way that Debbie can go to some of those master classes? Can you explain to her how to do it?
Yeah, sure can. Just go to oneclicktrading.com, which is your membership area. I'm sure you're familiar with that, hopefully. Oneclicktrading.com.
If somebody's new, do they get a password or something?
Yep, in the welcome email, they sure do. And you can create a new one if you need to. Okay.
Will you take care of Arthur? Arthur needs a little help.
Sure, once I finish.
Get some time, he'll call you. Area code 251.
Okay, Debbie, you go to oneclicktrading.com, go to the Genesis Algo section of the membership area, and you'll find all the masterclass videos, including the link to join the Telegram channel. All right. Thanks, Mina, for just joining TNT. I just approved you into the channel. You're about to see.
Welcome aboard, Mina.
You're about to see the latest moneymaker posting.
Yep. Neil, go into the Telegram channel. Go into the Telegram channel for Genesis, and it's very simple and easy to use. Let me bring it up, see if it's what I want it to be. Okay, I'm gonna hit Genesis. Where's Genesis? There's Genesis. Okay, Genesis. At 12:05, I think that's when it comes out, the first posting. 12:05, 12:10 maybe. It's 10 after 5 it comes out, okay? You'll get the first posting in Genesis for Genesis. 10 minutes after. Why don't we wait, Jonathan, and see if let me see the posting that goes in there. But it comes out, I think, 12:10, 12:40, and 1:10, 3 postings. Roy, I'll make sure. Roy, put your phone number in. I want to talk to you. It's been years. I want to just talk to you, get caught up, okay?
This is great from David. Thanks for typing it in, David. He says, if you sign up for one of Tom's programs and you don't go to One Click Trading to watch the master classes and review them over and over again, it's like buying a magazine or subscribing to a magazine and only looking at the front cover. That's especially true with the Genesis program. You really need to watch those master classes.
It's simple, but you got to go through the steps. I would do it over the weekend when you can digest it, then ask questions here in Train and Trade. I'd love to answer those questions after you did the work by listening to those trainings. Because we can update the trainings if we're missing something. I don't think we are, because not based on what people tell me about their success in there. Thanks, Bill. You just signed up for TNT. Did you let Bill in there?
Hey, Arthur, I got your phone number written down. I'll call you when this is done.
You see what Lester said? You need to check that out.
Okay, folks, we're going to try to replay Tom talking through TNT. I mean, we're still live on YouTube, so I'm not sure if this is going to work, but we're
Well,
going to
here, let me go on. Why don't we, hey, I want to wrap it up, then you can replay it. But there's a trade in Genesis right now on TLT, tells you the specifics. So, Jonathan, let me say one thing, okay? I enjoyed doing all this today. And I saw something here we want to refer to. Neil, will you send an email to Jonathan about that? Okay, where he can follow up with me. Okay. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'm gonna listen to this again. I think we covered a lot, and this is a cool day. Cool day, I'm telling you. So, you know what I say? As I always say, see you on the flip side. And the flip side happens at 3 o'clock today. You can do it now, Jonathan. Trades we do in here, there, now you're going to get the money maker to help you do so many more trades that you want to do. Well, here's your chance if you want to join. It's the only service I talk directly to you on, starting as early as 5 in the morning, going as late as 10 at night. Mark says, I'm glad I'm already there. In other words, when opportunity arises, TNT's there. A good time that a lot of people don't think about, there's a lot of earnings announcements. I'll do trades in the evening because you can trade in the evening, okay, when opportunity arises. Actual opportunities and trade details all day long. A typical day in the TNT program. Let's review it. First, the first thing I post early in the morning is the overview of stocks and tickers I'm looking at, okay? I see stocks that are moving early and markets that are moving down. I see that early in the morning, okay, and opportunities being created. Look where the S&P was, 65.47. You think you might make some money if you knew that 65.45 was the pivot? Well, I gave it to everybody this morning. Neil just said, it's downright scary just how accurate the money maker is. Never seen a tool like it. No one else has got it. No one ever will. This one's protected, but folks, snapshot of the market between today. Now here's what I do. This is a typical order I do it. I post my Magic 5 today. NVIDIA, 78.55. I said get long, #1 pick. TQQ, above 95.55 for the TQQ. In fact, it's 95.69 right now. QQQ, I said if it goes above 582.55, you ought to buy it. Let me check the QQQ. 584. There's another $200 on 100 shares. Or 2 Delta 50s would have probably paid you 100%. I told you gold or KGC 22.75. Listen to this. Jonathan, do the calculation on this one. I told people to buy it again this morning. It's at 23.13. If you had bought it off what I gave people, how much money would it have been up on a $5,000 stock bet? Figure that out for it. It's 23.13.
23.
Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot of money.
Well, that's 38 cents, and you said 5,000.
Yeah.
5,000 would have got you 200 and call it 20 shares. So whatever that is on the 38-cent move.
Not bad. ETH. Now, I put ETH in here at 41.11. That's a put sell I've been telling people. They can sell puts below the number I post. And that stock right now, let me just go check it out, ETH. Yeah, it's 41.53. So you can sell a 39 put out a couple weeks, make some money there. A lot of money I'm handing people every morning if they want to take it. It's up to you. Do you take it? I train you on taking it. I give my daily pivot on the E-mini, which is this alone. If I was out there, if somebody had as good a numbers as I use, and I don't mean to be cocky about it, just confident, if you use my numbers, you're going to make money and know how to use them. Let's just put it that way. Would you say that's a true statement? Let me ask the crowd here that's been using it. If you take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? That's really the question we're asking. You take my pivot number, does that keep you on the right side of the market? I got yes, yes, absolutely, yes, yes, yes. Keeps green. Claire loves it. Well, so Claire had. Roy says since 1996. Hey, Roy, good to see you. Since 1996. Jim says absolutely. Take my pivot number to the bank. I give it every morning. 65.45. This was my initial money maker that I'm adding between 5 and 6. Notice I got 62 right there. What I'm talking about, the diamond was at 458 and we were trading 65.55, which told me the diamond's exploding. Okay. Pretty good stuff. I also post trending news overnight. I like doing that. And I go through there to see if anything gets my attention. And, you know, I post this every morning. You know, just get you current with what everybody else is talking about. Okay. Yes, Sharon, you got to, here, just say, I'll tell you how to get there. I give you trending news. Right. Okay. Breaking insights. Notice the mind maker say gold correct. In other words, stay out of gold. Stay out of gold. I was telling people. I said the TQQ strong when I post that. I told people we got news at 8:30, big news. This is a trade we did a few weeks ago at $90 on TQQ. TQQ bonus trades alone can pay for your subscription, and you know it's pretty simple. You just wait for get one of these TQQ trades and do it. Do cash. You know, you don't have to. That's just the start of the day. Chuck also provides reference bar analysis all day long with every new reference bar. These numbers right here keep you current with the current time frame when you tune in. Notice he's got RB2, which is your Genesis time right there. He's got RB3. I said RB2, that's Europe's time. RB3 is RB3 cash opening times. He posts this for every major reference bar in here. So you can go back and say, hey, where was the pivot number for that time frame? You got it right there. This is your own research lab. I go there and get it. That's why I had him do it. I print these suckers off. Reference bar tape reading all day long. Now, remember, the Moneymaker will continue to post throughout the day. I'll post it tonight and every night, every morning. The DTI team will post it after 10. Genesis, they'll post it somewhere between 12 and 3, Jonathan. If you got to change, you can post it. I don't, but if you want to keep up with it. The key is I'm looking to sell something that last hour. That's what I'm looking for. We've got a report, comes out in the morning, tells you all the hot news. Sharon is reference bar. Jonathan, put reference bar white papers in there for Sharon. She's a new one.
Okay.
Anyway, this report here is right before the market where you got everything you need to know about today. Numbers ladder to the right. There's the white papers. Very easy to read if we post trades in there. That's a trade on Uber that we did in there, August 22nd. Clearly, we did great on it. Look at that, 86, 85. It's about 95 now, isn't it? What a trade. We recognize stuff before most people don't even know about it. Yeah, keep the questions coming. If you're already using Telegram, easy to join. If somebody wants it, they just download Telegram, right? And then they put the link we given for Talk and Trade, right? That's how they do it. 2 couple steps, you're in there. All right. We trade stock. We trade long calls, long puts, debit option spreads, credit option spreads, condors. We do condors in here some days. When I see an opportunity, I don't have to wake Jonathan up. He does sleep more than I do. I give you my favorite way to play it when I see it. And I'll post it if I'm watching the market at the time. Usually between 8 and 10 at night when I take a look. Let's summarize everything Talk and Trade members get. Get the morning market direction. I mean, that's worth a fortune. Our pre-market watch list, I already changed that to Magic 5 instead of the pre-market watch list. Anybody can get a pre-market watch list, but having Magic makes a difference. Put Magic 5 pre-market watch list. From time to time, you'll be invited to special webinars that I do. I update this sucker, reference bar trading, roadmap trading, income and other bonus trades, plus TQQ trading. It's got it there. It's got everything, doesn't it? Now, if you want to join, it's real simple. It's dtitrader.com/TNT. Everybody remember that website? Cost you $200 a month. Quit anytime. There's no contract or anything. You can only stay for a month. It's not worth it. I'll see you around. But I have never had anybody tell me it wasn't worth it when I meet them face to face at the different places we do, small classes or our Sawgrass. If you got any questions about this, call 904-706-3532. Everybody here can afford to have good information. Here's a way to get it from me. Nothing waters it down. It's strictly from me to you to your bank account. Any questions about it? Mina says, I'm new. I purchased the membership. You're going to give me signals when I buy and sell what I see. Yes, there's a ticket that we post in there, Nina. We covered it for stock and options. We do it in there all the time. So if you're going to join, get joined, okay? And if you join at $200 a month, okay, then I will post a trade this afternoon on the TQQ that maybe you can make some money, okay? How you like that for a bonus kickoff?